Hey everybody. So last video I did about the Bonanza crash in Florida. Again, we had a guy that had an option to land on a road. He didn't. He was trying to do something else. Basically stalled it, crashed into the trailer park.
Mm-hmm.
And literally the next day, this woman in a 150, I don't know why she landed in a road. She looks like a loss of power or something, although the video looks kind of like she was making power. But she did a great job.
Yeah.
Great-ish.
She's alive and her passenger's alive, and all in all, it was a good landing.
Yeah.
But there's always things. If they're alive and no one else got hurt, we like to go further and explain how there could be things done better, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you've got an emergency landing and you end up on the road and no one got hurt and the plane is actually in pretty dang good shape, that's
awesome.
That's 1.5 thumbs up. Almost double thumbs up. The only thing she did, and I don't, it looked wrong to me, was flaps.
Flaps, yep.
If you look at the video, watch this, she's coming in, setting up really nice. She's slow.
It looks like she's dragging it a little.
It does look like she's dragging a little bit, but she's coming in slow, pretty vertically, which is what I approve of. You don't want to come in too fast, because then, like I mentioned in the last video, you remain in the power line zone for too long. If you come in with a ton of speed that you have to bleed off before you can touch down, you end up flying parallel to the road, 50 feet up.
Yeah.
You're almost guaranteed to hit something. Like you're watching the video, she just makes it right over some stoplights and then plonks it down. Great job. But you also see here, she only has maybe 10 degrees of flaps in.
Yeah. Like at first you look at there's flaps, and then it gets closer
not much.
Flaps.
Yeah, so if she'd have remembered to go to full flaps, I think it would have been a lot better. Right after touchdown, she skids hard to the right, goes off the road. That's where she clips a tree a little bit with the one wingtip.
Yeah.
You can see the skid marks that go off into the dirt there. I don't know why she went off to the road. It's possible because she was missing a car.
Right.
Or maybe she, stalled it right as she was landing and kind of bounced and lost a little control.
It does look like, if you watch the end of it, again, it's hard to tell because it's that over-the-shoulder view. It looks like she drops out at the end, kind of.
Yeah.
Like that last 10 feet, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about, because she's kind of dragging it in. So I see what you're thinking about.
Yeah, but she was coming in looked like right above stall speed.
Yep.
Which would have been a lot lower if she'd had full flaps in.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's the problem that people get when they're doing an emergency landing. They get out of their normal landing routine.
Yep.
Pilots have their routine. Okay, I put whatever, 20 degrees flaps, beam the numbers, another 10 degrees on base, and then full flaps on final if they ever use full flaps. A lot of pilots don't use full flaps, hardly ever, because they get nicer landings.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem I have with that is they're practicing for nice, smooth landings to impress your passengers and your grandma. Feel how nice and smooth that was. What I do when I practice my landings, almost every landing is a short, accurate landing.
Yeah.
Because I'm practicing for what she just did. Every landing I'm practicing to put it down on a road and stop before I hit the semi.
Yeah.
And that means full flaps, steep approach, soft landing. I'm trying to be nice to my plane. I don't want to.
We got an old plane.
We got an old plane.
It's been a while for a while.
But still, short and accurate.
Yeah. Well, and it makes sense to coming in, like you always taught me, don't make the pattern super wide and come in a little bit high in case of engine failure. You know?
Yep.
But no, she did great. But that's what you're talking about. You get in that normal routine. Every time you go, you land the exact same way every single time. And they're not landing at that point. They're crashing, right? That's what's probably going through her head. And a lot of other people who go through those scenarios is, I'm crashing, I'm not landing.
Yeah.
So you don't go through your normal checklist. You're not going through gumps. But easier said than done, too.
Right. It's super easy for us to say it here.
I would have done it this way.
If it was me, I'd have been way better at it.
But again, that's what you're saying.
Although I would have.
But again, that's what I was saying. She's alive. The plane's looks like it could probably fly again.
Oh yeah, and that
Awesome.
looks like a
on
really
a busy road.
yeah, and that's a nice 150. I mean, that's a pretty. I mean,
Yeah,
most
impressive
150
job.
are pretty beat up. So, yeah, good job on her. But again, everybody, the two things that I always tell pilots for emergency landings is speed for the setup. Keep your speed up. Don't stall, because that's where pilots get in the before they even get to short final. That's where they're most of the time getting in trouble because they stall it, because they can't bring themselves to accept the fact that I'm crashing.
Yeah.
And they keep pulling back, wishing they
No,
could
no,
fly.
no,
I really wish my engine was ringing. Well, it's not. You're a glider. You're a glider right now. You're a really crappy glider.
Really bad glider.
Sorry about that.
Going down.
But then, speed for the setup, full flaps for final.
Yeah.
In an emergency landing, you want to touch down as soft as possible because you're almost always gonna hit something. She did great. Nothing against her, but we can always learn from every single incident. Like in the military and like when we were skydiving, we always debrief the flight. How did we do? Even if it was great, you always can find something you can do a little bit better. That's how we learn. That's how we improve as pilots and as skydivers and as everybody. Debrief.
Yeah.
Debrief the flight.
It shouldn't be, something bad happened. You guys survived. All right, let's not talk about it. It happened. Let's move on from it. It's like, no, we need to dive into it, and because then we can put that information out to other people, and newer people can learn about it, or even people who've been doing it for a while can learn and be like, oh, learn stuff. That's what we're trying to do is learn. Yeah.
You have yet to have your first emergency landing, have you?
No. Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. We're kind of going with this. I've got a bunch of them, and I would like yours to be really successful. I want first time you have to dead stick it into a road, you're hearing that speed in the setup, full flaps on final in the back of your head.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting whenever it happens.
So when we have the debrief after your first dead stick, we're gonna go, well, good job,
Connor.
I mean, you could have done better.
But you kind of sucked.
You kind of
sucked a lot. Yeah.
Why did you break my airplane? Why did you catch that tree on the? You busted off the mirror on that Ford F-150 you clipped on the way past. So. All right. So that's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. And as always,
keep your speed up.
Keep your speed up.